welcome to a new edition of the Gerety Talks. My name is Lucia Ongai and I am the co-founder of the Gerety Awards, the award redefining creative benchmarks by showing the value of the female vision in advertising. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for our weekly Gerety Talks episodes, where we chat with some of the marketing and creative industries through changemakers. Today we welcome Joana Mendes. Hi, Joana. Welcome. Thanks for joining.
Thank you
She's
for
the
inviting
creative
me.
director and the president of Clube de Criação in Brazil. So thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, and great Brazilian saying.
Okay. So you said, I am a Brazilian-based creative director with a solid digital copywriting background, but I am much more than that. So can you tell us about that much more than that? How would you introduce yourself?
Yes, definitely. I wrote a book, so I'm a book writer. I launched a book that is called Manual de Penteado para Crianças Negras. I'm a creative director. I really like to write. Like I write anything. I love writing. So, but I think that most of the times we just are confined in that space, that I'm this and that when you're introducing ourselves, and we are so much broader than that. So I really like to talk to people about random stuff. I really like to be out there, and I really like to have fun with my friends, and all those also creative stuff. Like I am a Young Lion Creative Academy. I was part of the Young Lions Creative Academy. I am the president of the Creative Club here in Brazil. So there's a lot of stuff, I'm much more than just like creative director with a solid, with a solid copywriting background. And most of us, we are like much more than that, right?
And you have become the first Black president of the Brazilian Creative Club and the first LGBTQIA+. How was your first year of being the president? What's your balance of this first year?
It was rough. It was hard. It's really hard being a Black woman here in Brazil. And it's really hard to... Clube de Criação is a really known place. It's a really known entity in the entire world. And it's really... It's a place where people are used to have some profile, some kind of person over there, being the president. And when someone so young, and I mean, I'm not that young, but being the president of the Creative Club is really young for that. And being a Black woman and being an LGBTQIA person, I'm not from São Paulo and I'm not from Rio. I'm from a city in the Amazon forest. So everything's really different. So it was really, really hard. But at the same time was really, really great. You have like this weird balance, because I managed to do a lot of changes. I managed to do a lot of things that people weren't seeing before, that were really, really important to the Creative Club. I managed to start talking to more of international awards, just like yourself. Mm-hmm. So, trying to be closer to international awards and international creative clubs, so that then we can showcase that to other countries and other people. So it has been like a bittersweet moment, but now I think that like in any kind of job, now I know what I'm doing. Before I had no idea what I was doing. I was just like tapping in the dark, and I was like, oh my gosh, can I do that? And looking back, I made like some decisions last year that I wouldn't make now, but they were important for me. I made some stuff that were like just wanted to have the job done, and sometimes I'd be like really rushing stuff and really scared of stuff. And also with the people that work at the club, they were like, who is this girl? What she's doing here. But now it's better. And I'm glad that it's more at ease. And we had an amazing festival. So it was really...
Yeah, I actually saw that on different posts on social media, that everything went really, really well. So congratulations for that.
Thank you. It was, because a lot of things, they just went really, really, really bad before. You know, we had like a couple of months that were just like awful months before the festival, and we were really concerned. The club doesn't have a lot of money. People tend to think that we have a lot of money, but it's just like a really badly funded NGO. So everything went well. And sometimes I tell people that my favorite KPI from the festival was a creative director from an agency came to me and she said, people are so different here. You know, we have like different kind of people here that I really am happier flirting here than I was before. I was like, okay, that's a good thing to know that you can flirt around, you know, without being like. So it was great. It was great, and I expect that this year will be even greater.
And how long is your presidency for? How many more years?
September.
Okay.
Until this year, September, we have the festival, and then I just leave the presidency.
Okay. Okay. And what do you think are the most significant changes happening in the Brazilian advertising scene at the moment? Well, Brazil is actually going through many changes now with the new president and everything. So I guess maybe that also has different outcomes.
We have a lot of changes happening, but the one that I tending to see the most, and it's really interesting because it also clashes with what is happening. We are becoming more Brazilian, you know, like we are trying, and this is really, I tend to be like really careful and really cautious when I talk about that, because when we say that we are becoming more Brazilian, it seems like we are gonna dress in yellow and green, gonna like shout or destroy the parliament and the courts and everything. So that's not about that. It's just like I think that we are starting to see the value of things that are not so. We're starting to see the value in real people, you know, we're starting to talk to them closely. And I think that's a movement that I keep on seeing here. We are trying to find the real Brazil. And also, instead of just like focusing in Sao Paulo, we are starting to focus on the Amazon forest, but the people that live in the Amazon forest, and we're trying to focus in people that live in Northeast. So we are trying to find a more realistic vision of ourselves. So I think advertisement is doing that, trying to like mapping that, you know, those movements and everything that is happening in Brazil, and showcasing that. We have like, you know, we really love soap operas in Brazil, and we are like soap opera people. We have like this telenovela that is called Pantanal. There was like people were obsessed with that. It was really like in the Pantanal, there's an area in Brazil, and we had like a panther, you know, we had like things that are really, really Brazilian. And people were like, yeah, this is great. The other day I was watching a telenovela with my mom. I was like, oh my gosh, you know, this plot is so silly. I know everything that is going to happen, and I was stuck. So it's like being Brazilian, you know, it's about watching telenovelas and being really real, and going to your grandmother's house and just like being there the entire Sunday and dancing, and not in a how can I say that? I forgot the word in English and in Portuguese, but not in I forgot the word. But okay, let's move on because I forgot the word. But I try not to be like a characteristic, like a caricatura, like not
okay, okay. And you actually wrote an interesting article about Brazilians not really knowing Brazil and advertising professionals looking more what is happening outside, like in Europe or the US, and not connecting with people. Can you tell us more about this?
Yeah, sure. And I think that we are doing this movement in Brazil. They're trying to see more the Brazilian people, because I tend to believe that all the movements that we do in advertising, it's just because the audience forces us to do that, you know, because people force us, and otherwise we wouldn't do that. Otherwise, everybody would go be like in New York and, you know, saying stuff that they saw in New York. So I really want us as a market to look to stop just like going every day to work inside of your car just by yourself, just like going to the subway, you know, seeing people and talking to people and watching soap operas and getting to know people better, because otherwise I tend to think that we're just doing that for ourselves. And when we see the results of what we have done, they are always like, they're not as good. Here in Brazil, people sometimes say, we used to be more creative. We used to be better, you know, we used to be, and now we're not, just like that. And it's like, because we're doing the same thing that Europe is doing, and that the United States is doing, and it doesn't resonate to people that lived in here, you know, people just like, I don't think I believe in that. So I really want us to get to know Brazil better, you know, to get to be closer to Brazil. I was last year as a the president of the club. We have a campaign, and I really like a guy here in Brazil that he has an Instagram account that he just showcases all the music styles that we have, you know, like different, really kind of different music styles and different cultural manifestations. And I remember I said, this is really good, and nobody knew it. I was like, okay, you know, that maybe, you know, we could like try to get to know that. And we invited him to give a lecture. We invited this guy that has this Instagram account to give a lecture, to talk to people about funk, Brazilian funk music. And he was appalled. He was like, okay, you work in advertisement. I have no idea that, how did you guys get to me? I'm not over there, you know, people from advertising, they really don't care about me. I was like, yeah, we're trying to do something that's like different for that. So, and at the club, we're trying to do that, you know, trying to bring more people from the diverse backgrounds. That's why the festival was so successful as well, because we brought a lot of people from a lot of different places, and people were like, okay, so maybe we don't need like a lot of like those bunch of people always talking about advertising, but advertising can be so much more, you know, can be a lot of stuff.
Yeah, opening it to other different thinkings and different people basically that think differently or do different things.
Exactly.
And what are the biggest challenges you're facing today, either as a president of the club or in your daily job?
I think I have a personal challenge that is just like, I think that sometimes not being from here, you know, coming from a different place and having a different accent, you know, in Portuguese. I have like a weird accent in Portuguese because I lived in 3 different places, and people actually cannot tell where I'm from. So they never guess that I'm from the Amazon forest. But I guess it's really hard to as a woman to show that we are good enough. You know, we're trying to show that all the time. And people give us signs that we're not that good. No, and so I think this is one of my major challenges right now. It's just like trying to prove that I'm enough. But that's also for me. This is like I can tell myself like, you know, it's like I am enough. This what I'm doing is enough, because I have done a lot of stuff last year and the year before that during the pandemic. I launched a book, I wrote a series, I became the president of the creative club, I became a creative director. You know, I have done a lot of things. So sometimes I'm like, I have done a lot of awards. I went to Cannes, I gave a lecture in Cannes. So sometimes I have to like, I'm enough, I'm good enough, you know, but it's a challenge that I have, like saying to people that we're good enough. The club always needs funding, which can be sometimes distressing because, you know, I have to ask people for money all the time. And become, please, can you give me some money? You know, the club needs some money. And my challenge is that also when I'm talking about the club is that people can fund us and can see the work that we have doing and our vision of that, you know. So hopefully this year we will do better. We were good last year. I think we managed to have like we broke a lot of records last year, which was good.
Really? Oh, good.
Yes, yes. We had like we broke a record of subscriptions. We broke a record of people going to the festival. So we broke some records. But this year I want us to be like, you know, I'm more prepared. I'm wiser now. So I have those challenges. And concerning my book, I want to sell more books. So because I launched a book. So
talking about book, you launched a children's book, which is called Manual de Penteados para Crianzas Negras, to teach children and their caregivers how to style curly and coiled hair. So can you tell us more about it and why you wrote it?
Yes, here it is.
Okay.
And it's a really cool book. Actually, it was, as I told you, I really like to write and I can write anything, you know. I truly believe that. I believe when I was younger that the job of a copywriter was just like, you have to write everything, anything that people say to you that you need to write, you will write. So I managed to be this person that is like, just give me a blueprint, you know, and I can follow that. So one day I used to work at Africa, an agency here in Brazil. And I met this girl and she told me I have this dream of writing a children's book about styling people's hair, Black children's hair. And I was like, cool, I can write that. and she was like, great, so I'll do the research and you will write there. It's like, awesome. And one day I have a friend here in Brazil that she's really, she builds a lot of bridges, you know. She's this person that you just like, you have an idea, she's like, I try to connect you with that person that would help. And then she invited me, Chris, she invited me to her house and she told me, do you have any ideas? And I started to tell her all of the ideas that I had. And she was like, okay, this book is really good. I'll just like connect you with the publishing house, which is the major publishing house in Brazil. Yes. So it was not like I'm gonna, you know, it was like the largest publishing house in Brazil, and it was really easy. People were like, oh, it was really hard. We just went there and we started talking to them and they were like, okay, let's sign that. I was like, that was easy. But the book itself, it wasn't that easy because, you know, I haven't had written a book before. So I wrote the entire book. The girl that I met, that she was like going to do the research, she had a lot of issues. So she wasn't able to do anything. So I wrote the entire book and did the research. And I had a broken foot and everything happened doing that. And the publishing house also told us that it wasn't good enough. The book wasn't good enough. So I had to rewrite the book, the entire book. And that was it. You know, the idea was, it came from her. I decided to jump in. I ended up doing a lot of stuff all by myself and learning a lot of stuff that I didn't know about coily hair. And all of a sudden, which is interesting, I became somehow a hair expert. You know, I have done a lot of hair campaigns in the last couple of years when I just like, you know, I made a campaign with Argentina for Brazil for like coily and curly here. And now I'm doing another, you know, I just became a hair expert.
Hair expert. Well, you can add that to your titles. Hair
I
expert,
will.
copywriter, creative director.
That's a good idea. Now I know everything though.
And you also created and produced the only Black women image bank globally, which is Young, Gifted, and Black.
Yes.
How did that project came to life?
That was a little bit different, I guess. I was talking to a friend of mine back then that we couldn't find any inspirational pictures, just to like when you have like a presentation and you cannot find pictures. a Black woman that would be for free for you to have this presentation. And I was like, well, since we cannot find it, we can do that, since we're not finding images, we can do that by ourselves. And that was it. And then I decided that everything that would be made by a Black woman, we had like Black women being the makeup artist and the photographer, and everything would be, because a lot of people, and that just happened in Brazil, which was interesting. We have a new minister that she said that she couldn't find Black women to the jobs that she was trying to find. So I hear that from a lot of people, that they cannot find Black women for, to do anything. Yeah. I cannot find a creative director that's a Black woman. I cannot find a copywriter that's a Black woman. And then I was like, okay, so that will answer a lot of questions as well, because people tend to say they cannot find Black women, but I will do everything with a Black woman. So we have smaller and larger set. So we had like Black women. I had a huge set with like 30 Black women doing everything. We didn't, everything. Since I don't know the name in English, but we have like a girl that used to be the light, the one responsible for the light, and the huge machines. Everything was made by a Black woman. So the idea came from there, for a necessity, but also a way to show to the market that we can do anything. We have Black women doing a lot of stuff, and people, they're not giving the opportunity to do those stuff. So the image bank was also a place to give them those shots and pay them fairly.
And in 2019, you were considered one of 30 young people changing the ad industry. So my last question is, what do you think it takes to change the ad industry?
You have to be really crazy, I guess. You have to be like, I don't know. You have to be a little bit unwell. A little bit. I don't know. I'm a person. I'm trying to find the word, but I'm a person that I'm really uncomfortable. I feel uncomfortable with a lot of stuff. I feel like a lot of stuff make me uncomfortable. So I try to be fair, or I seek somehow social justice. I don't know what it. I try to. So every time that I see something that is like wrong, or that I think that it could be better, sometimes I just go there myself and try to do that. I'm just really, and that is hard. I don't know. I get tired sometimes, but I also believe that is a way for us to change places that we think they're not good enough for us. Just like you with Gerety Award, for example. You saw that we didn't have any awards that would like have all female jurors. So I'm gonna do that myself. Instead of like going because sometimes it's like, instead of going to, I don't know, Kane, and just like, okay, what do you think about having an entire female jury? You'll be like, I'm gonna do that all by myself. So I think that sometimes just be really uncomfortable with stuff and be really willing to do stuff. So I guess it's that, even though, for example, the image bank, it took a lot of time to be done. It took like 3-4 years to be done. Now I'm writing a series that I have this project since 2018, 2018. I never know how to say numbers in English, numbers in English.
2018 is okay.
Yeah. Okay, great. I have this book that it took me 3 years. So sometimes stuff, but they overlap. I have like a lot of projects going on. My mom the other day, she was like, okay, so you don't have anything now. You don't have any projects. Are you thinking about it? And you was like, no, not doing anything. I won't start a new project. I'll just like finish mine. But I guess it's that. It's just feeling uncomfortable with the society and stuff that they are handed to us, knowing that we might not be able to change stuff, we're not being able to change the industry, with Gerety, you won't be able to change the industry, but you're just giving a message. You're just like believing that you have a work to be done, and you're doing that, so that's what I think, that you try to change stuff because you feel uncomfortable, and I have a lot of willpower, I guess. I'm just like, I'm really driven, so I really believe that things are just like bumps in the road, like, okay, I can overcome that, and sometimes I just let it go. It's like, I don't want to do that project anymore, but most of the times I'm really driven. It's like, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna finish that, and that's it.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for telling us about your life and your life as president of Tubi de Criação, and lots of luck for this year and all the projects you do, and for the rest of all the things you need to do for this year.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Amazing Brazilian accent when speaking words in Portuguese. Thank you, Lucia. And thank you so much for having me. And thank you for the work that you have been doing. I admire you for like a long time. I think what you've been doing is amazing, and it's great for us women to have a place where we can discuss the work that we do, and we can discuss with ourselves. I think it's Gerety is a safe spot for women and for the work that we do. So thank you for that as well.
Thank you so much. Obrigado.
Obrigada a você.
Tchau.
Beijo. Tchau, tchau.